If you have something you're terrified to do, but you've been meaning to do it and it's plaguing your psyche, I really would invite you to just come say what's up. Hello, sunshines, and welcome back to Paradigm Shift with Ayandastood. As always, I'm so grateful to have you here. I'm sending you the love, the ease, the joy, the passion, the pleasure, the self-trust, and also the service and the being for others, the looking around, seeing how you can help, okay, to the extent that you can. And I'm also sending you deserve help. If you're struggling with something, you deserve help. And I'm trying to create ways for us to support each other. And today I want to tell you about an event that I'm having this Sunday. If you can't make this one, there will be more, but it is called Showing Up Together. Showing Up Together. Because why would we show up alone? I'm someone who avoids so many difficult tasks. And I think to myself, wouldn't it be nice if we could do this in community? If we could come together and this could be a way that we could connect. Because I've always wanted to do a Zoom call, and I've always wanted to connect with people in more than just the written word, because I am a person who loves to deeply connect. And one time I did one-on-one calls, and I want to do those again because that was incredible. I have such wonderful, profound, thoughtful, kind, loving, delicious people in community with me, and I'm so obsessed with each of you. I've been so blown away, and like the comments I've been receiving on my Substack have been so thoughtful and kind and generous to each other and responding to each other and helping each other. So it just makes me really excited about what this can be and what this already is. So I want to talk about this event, why I'm having it, and what the goal is, the flexibility of it, and then also just note that there will be more and you can join the next one. And I would love to get your thoughts on this concept because I'm just really excited about it. We are going to get onto a Zoom call, a working session. So I'm going to be responding to texts I've been literally so behind on. Other people may be editing something or writing something or working on something. And so that's the goal for the session. I did the Spotify poll for the first time, and I asked people, what is holding you back most creatively? And this was the episode on Insecure Creatives Gather. And the options were money, time, lack of community, fear and self-doubt, and perfectionism. And which one do you think won? You guessed it. It was fear/self-doubt. That won. 77 people voted, and 46% of people said fear or self-doubt. That was number one. The second one was perfectionism, which was 20%. The third one was lack of community, which was 14%. The fifth one was money, which was 10%. And the sixth one was time, which was 9%. It's not a perfect survey, obviously, but I just think that's so interesting. Like, we're all going through this creative fear. That's something that I would really like to help address together. And this is this concept, and it's based on this beautiful essay that I read by Dr. Ayesha Khan on her Substack, Cosmic Anarchy, which is an incredible resource. I'll link to it in the show notes. And she says that difficult emotions are meant to be held in community. And what makes them so difficult isn't necessarily the emotion itself, but it is the fact that we're holding them in isolation. So when we think about grief, what makes grief deeply painful, of course, in and of itself, grief is hard, but when you're grieving in a community and you have communal practices to grieve, when you know how to grieve together, it's more manageable to carry that grief. Similarly, when you are angry, but you have you have others to hold that anger with you, to hold space for you. It's the idea of when you are with someone and they're able to hold space for your emotions, literally meaning that when your emotions are raised, they don't jump to solutions. They don't jump to the next thing. They literally create an emotional container, a space, a room for you to exist in and to unpack or do whatever you need to in that. And it could also be this idea that we don't always only need to speak about emotions, but move through emotions. So if you have people you dance with, then that could be a big release of everything you experienced that day. And so you're holding the emotions as a collective. And so part of my dream for society, for society. Why would I not have a dream for society? It can't only be about critique. It also has to be about the constructive side. Angela Davis has said this. Dr. Ruha Benjamin, who was on my podcast, has said this. Mia Mingus, who was on my podcast, has said this. Adrienne Marie Brown, who by now you know I'm obsessed with, has said this, that it's not enough to critique society. We also have to know what our dreams are for society. And in order to dream, we need to be rested. Rest is Resistance by Trisha Hersey. All these ideas are serving us and serving our collective imagination, which is so filled with hopelessness, with we can't do anything, with look around, you know. And yet I believe that the spirit needs, to hang on to both the hope and the despair. And what Cornel West has said is that hope is existential, meaning someone who has no hope, they'll find it very difficult to go on. It's an existential need to be hopeful for your life, for your community, for whatever that is. If you have absolutely no hope, not even just the saying, but the actual absence of hope, that is an existential kind of death. And we are made to live that death, especially anyone who is of any marginalized identity. So as part of that dream for society, that constructive view, we need to try, if we can, to build the kind of world we want to see in the smallest of actions. Whatever we would love, why not try to bring that into being? If you would love a world with more community and you have the space, time, energy, even if you're scared to do it, it's you who needs to try and help create community. Unless you cannot, obviously. But I'm saying let's not let fear be the thing. And so for me, I am scared to have this event on Sunday because, of course, I am afraid. The words of Audre Lorde echo in my mind. It's daunting to speak your truth, and speaking, of course, in language and in action. But I feel it's so important to create these spaces for people to, queer and reimagine what community could look like, especially when we're feeling alone. I have so many things that I'm avoiding. I'm behind on texts. I am, you're never behind, but I think communication-wise, I'm behind on texts because I owe people text. And there's a person who hasn't responded to me in a long time. And I was just journaling about this. And it's creating a kind of anxiety. I can switch it off, but I'm like, did I do something wrong? And then I'm like, no, I didn't do something wrong. But I wrote to myself, what is the universe trying to teach me through this feeling I'm having from this person? And it's it's trying to show you what it feels like to be ignored. That the sense of I understand we're all busy, and also it doesn't feel good to feel like someone doesn't care about you. And so I am creating that emotion by not responding to people. And these aren't my best friends, but it doesn't even matter. They're friends, they're people, they're human beings. They're people I love, they're my family, some of them. Cousins I owe responses to, I owe my dad a call, all these different things. And it's I don't want to create the feeling of neglect. And I think the universe is inviting me to look at the feeling that I am feeling from this one person who hasn't responded to me in a very long time. And saying, okay, look, girl, look what you're also creating in the universe. Do you want to be a creator of this? Because, we're all creators. But we don't only create, the things we create on our platforms. We also create pain. We create resentment. We are creators. We create many different things through our actions. And we can't only own the good things we create, or I don't even like the duality of good and bad. We can't only own the parts of the things that we create that feed our egos. We also have to own the shadow side. And so I know that I'm creating pain by not responding to certain people, by taking so long to respond. And it's because I get the text, I'm like, this is so lovely. I respond physically, and then it's not the moment to respond. And then I'm like, I'll respond soon. And then days pass, and then long passes, and then I'm ashamed that I haven't responded. Now I'm avoiding the shame, and I'm avoiding the text. And so now I'm avoiding. And so I was like, wow, I'm going to feel this way for the rest of my life. I'm going to live a whole life of texting people. So I better create some sort of way to confront this, because I want to show up for people reliably. Now, I don't believe in urgency culture. I believe that is really a product of white supremacy and capitalism, which Trisha Hersey speaks about in her book, Rest is Resistance.
White supremacy work culture is centered in this sense of urgency. Everything is urgent. Everything is always urgent. There's no time to stop. That our worth is connected to how much we create and do. And we know that that's a lie, because our worth is created simply by our birth, by us being alive, by us being here on earth, this divinity that has been stolen from us based on treating our bodies like a machine, this machine level pace.
Also, Sayhem on TikTok, an incredible creator whom I love, and I'm sure many of you follow them. They're incredible, and they talk about the different tenets and principles of white supremacy culture often, and give so much information and understanding on why things like politeness and things like what was I just mentioning? Urgency, all of these different ideals are rooted in a white supremacy culture. So definitely follow them as a beautiful resource and person and spirit. Wow, just an incredible being on this earth. So While I don't believe in urgency, I do believe in being someone people can depend on, which I'm currently not being. And I do believe that I need to create a way to confront this avoidance. And I thought to myself, well, if I feel this way, so many people feel this way because I am part of the collective. I am of the collective. And I've had this idea for like a year where I'm like, what if we got on a Zoom call and did things we were afraid to do? Because me and my best friend do this with some of our creative projects where if we're scared to write an essay or if we're scared to finish something or send something, we'll get on a call or get on a Zoom call and we'll do it together. And someone on my Substack commented an incredible comment that I can't wait to share. Their name is Shan, and they said, I love this. In the neurodivergent community, we call this body doubling. We struggle with focus and task initiation, but it's been found that just having another body in the room or someone working alongside you helps to get you started or keeps you going. Thank you, Shan. That is so beautiful. Body doubling. That is so stunning. And I always think it's always the communities that are pushed to literally marginalized or that are othered in our society that have the imagination to create the world that we want. So this is coming from the neurodivergent community, which is these are the ways of seeing. Disabled activists and thinkers and feelers and healers have so many ideas that we need as a society to bring into being. Such as the idea of body mind, the idea that the West through Descartes has been obsessed with the separation of the body and the mind, but they are necessarily interactive, like they are a whole. They're influencing each other all the time. They can't even be separated. How you feel is so related to your body mind. And so all of these ways of seeing, I love, for example, looking to communities that have been, so the polyamorous community, for example, have incredible ideas on what love could look like outside the colonial imagination, outside of possession, and outside of the idea of compulsory monogamy. This is the idea of queering society, like this radical queer imagination and ways of being and seeing and thinking and feeling that can really create a generative new world where love is at the center, safety is at the center, community is at the center, and so on. Something that Sahara Rose always says is your mess is your message. And she has a great spiritual podcast called The Highest Self. I really love that. It's basically how can you alchemize what you've experienced as something you're meant to be ashamed from and avoiding and put it into your art, put it into what you have to say, put it into your message. And I feel like as a person who avoids, why not help others create a community container for facing avoidance? And I think that's something I would love to do more as a long-term thing. I mean, I hope. I feel like my vibe is I'm good at starting things and bad at sustaining them. So we'll see. Let me not say bad, but like I struggle the most with sustaining the idea or bringing it to actual life. I can have the idea, but like executing on it and like sticking with it is what I struggle with most. So if you have something you're terrified to do, but you've been meaning to do it and it's plaguing your psyche, I really would invite you to just come say what's up. I really would invite you to just come say what's up. Like come say hello. And it's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time. And even if you come like for 10 minutes, just come say hello. I'm going to be there for the full time. I'm going to discuss kind of what people want the frequency to be. Maybe it's kind of like office hours where like you just always can come through. I don't think I can do it every single Sunday at that time, but I'm going to find a way to make it like a consistent space in some way, whether that's every 2 weeks or every week, because I really want to help people. I also like would love to support people on their journeys. Okay. Love you lots. I hope that you are out there. I was going to say thriving. I hope you're thriving. I know that's a lot to ask these days, all days, but I really do hope that is my hope. My hope is that you are finding the joy, the light, the pleasure, and also being of service to someone in your life. That's my hope, that you are not only focusing on the self, but also the other. In my last episode, I shared that quote from Jay Shetty about nature and service. I think that's what we're here to do, is to help each other on this life journey, and to do that within the capacity that we have, right? And to bring more love and more healing and more joy, whatever your calling is, to bring more of it into the world. Thank you so much for listening. I wanted to just make a short episode on this, and the next episode is going to be on envy, so stay tuned and listen to that one. I love you so much. I'm sending you so much love. As always, please subscribe to the Substack if you can, join the newsletter, and that's where I share information on events like this and my thoughts. I'm writing an essay on beauty as alienation of the self. It's really something I'm struggling with, so I would love, once it's done, for you to receive it. And number 2, my ask is, if you can, please leave a 5-star review rating on Apple and Spotify. It really helps people find us and also helps my creative dreams for this project to come true. Okay? Love you. Bye.